Welcome to another episode of Finds. Unfortunately, this is just going to be a single find here. Check that guy out. What we have here is a Fender Deville 212. I guess this is a 60 watt amp. It says 180 watts at the back, but apparently it uses 180 watts of power and heat dissipation. You know, there's a big loss with that. But this is a tube amp. So this is the back of it. And check that out. There's two there, tube there, two more tubes there. So what has it got? 5 tubes in it and two 12-inch Fender speakers. But this is the Hot Rod Deville 212 by Fender. But don't let that 60 watt output fool you. There are a lot of amplifiers and home theater equipment, stereo equipment, car, audio equipment that claims to be 100 watts, 500 watts, 10,000 watts. This guy blasted me out basically when I turned it on, because this guy here, which we couldn't really see because the writing is actually that switch, that toggle switch, the writing is faded away. That's a standby. So I turned this guy on with the power switch here. Let it sit for a few minutes thinking, well, are the tubes going to warm up? I heard something out of the amp a little bit, but nothing from the guitar that we plugged in. I flipped that switch and boom, it just, explosion of sound, and freaking just started squealing like crazy. And the master volume wasn't even up very high. Maybe like a 3 or a 2. One of the cool things about this, and this got a few cool features, it has 2 inputs for 2 guitars, and what they're calling preamp out and power amp in is an effects loop. That's their, I guess, Fender's version of an effects loop. And we don't have the foot switch, but I'll probably buy one, Ford, a used one, or maybe a third-party one or something on eBay. This amplifier is also heavy. It's like a backbreaker. I don't know if it's 50 or 70 pounds or what, but it definitely puts some strain on your back and your arms when you're lugging it around. I just got it in today, just testing it. Haven't really had a time to properly, demo it properly or anything for this video. But we can't be a finds video without having a good deal, right? And I hope to properly demo this maybe when I get the Epiphone, Gibson Epiphone Strat, completed. Once I get it how I want it to sound, get all the intonation issues done, all the neck fret issues, the sharp frets, the possibly like getting the pickups, possibly changed out, or possibly pick guard customized to so I can do better palm muting, and everything just sounding and looking amazing, So this is my late Christmas present to myself, I guess you could say. I put it on layaway at a pawn shop. And these guys, they can sell anywhere from $500 to maybe $750, $500 US dollars. I got it for $375. I know it's not like a half price deal or getting it for 10% of the value, but sometimes you find this stuff and people kind of know the value of their items, and they just have had it on their store shelf too long. I could have gotten it cheaper had I just lowballed them a little bit, but I did not have the cash when I made the deal. So, if you got cash in your pocket, you can say, take it or leave it, right? And I've done that before. Same pawn shop. There are two pawn shops I do a lot of deals with. Well, this is one that I have lowballed before and got stuff when I had cash in my pocket. Um, yeah, it's super loud, and I can't wait to experiment, with it on all of my electric guitars, and you know, I've only had a couple amplifiers that were as loud as this guy, or possibly louder, and one of them was a crate. Had two 12-inch speakers. It was like, I don't know if it was 130 watts or something like that. It was super loud, and they're known, at least this specific model that I had, for having major cold solder joint issues, and mine suffered greatly from it. But it had one of the coolest, I believe it was stereo courses built in it. One of the best sounding stereo courses I've ever heard. And I've had a few amps with built-in course that just, you know, just like someone with a built-in tremolo, you may not have the control that like depth or whatever, or mix. Some pedals would say like mix, how much are you mixing with your dry to wet, and it may just have something like speed, but that crate was probably one of my coolest guitars. My amps. One of my most beloved amplifiers. And unfortunately, this doesn't have chorus or flanger or anything like that. I do have some with like DSP effects built in. And I have a Marshall mini stack and a few other amplifiers. And of course, the one I recently got, the Vox Valvetronics with the tubes in it, tube preamp system or whatever. Sometimes, like the Vox amp, which has all of the like amplifier and speaker simulators or emulators on them, kind of there's not only just a learning curve, but you got to kind of figure out how to home in a sound that you like on it. And these guys here, you get what you get. You basically got a clean channel, you got a drive channel, and you got an extra drive channel, which is a little bit more distortion, and you got a spring reverb. It's nice that you have the fixed loop, so you can add your modulation or whatever effects. And if you don't like the distortion, put your overdrive, distortion, grunge pedal or whatever in the input, I guess, and have at it. You can kind of shape it however you want. And this could be the last expensive or major amplifier I get. I may not ever need anything more fancy than this. Well, that's about it for this episode of Finds. Take care.